Serious, what revenge of yours hit the victim way worse than you thought it would, to the point you said maybe I shouldn't have done that? Back in elementary school, a friend threw a piece of chalk that hit me square in the forehead. It was the most humiliating moment for younger me, as everyone who saw that started laughing their asses off. Kids are buttholes. I plotted and planned my revenge, to get back in the exact same fashion over the next couple of days. One fine day, weapon in hand, I find him perfectly placed a chalk throw away from me. I yell out his name and quickly launch the projectile as he spins around. For some reason he had his mouth open as he looked at me, and the piece of chalk flew directly into his throat. His eyes widen and he starts choking. I stood frozen in shock as he fell on his knees coughing. Luckily somebody grabbed him from behind and thumped his back, so he swallowed the piece. An adult walks in. Cannot remember who it was at the time, but she looks at me and asks what happened. At this point I'm shaking, realizing that I narrowly killed my friend. I say it was a mint. My friend, also shaken at this point, laughs it off, saying it went straight into his throat and he didn't taste it. The adult shakes her head and says next time just hand it like a normal person, and walks away. Years later, when we were moving away to another country, I remind him about the incident and come clean about the whole thing. He snaps and yells, I knew it.
Man, that was crazy. That's some crazy story right there. You just try to get revenge on your friend and you almost end up killing him. Yo, what's good guys, Kelvin here, and today we're about to be looking at revenge that hit harder than intended. Hopefully you guys can get this video like an early thumbs up, because most of my story videos does not get much views comparing to my Family Guy videos, but I love doing story videos because they are really fun. So be sure to get this video like an early thumbs up to help out with the YouTube algorithm, and yeah, let's get right in. What is so?
Middle school, a friend of mine threw a small wadded piece of paper at me. I retaliated by throwing the only thing I could find, which was mud close to my shoes. Smacked him right in the face with it. Worst part is, it turned out to be dog crap that was at the bottom of my shoe. I still vividly remember his angry WTF man, I throw paper at you and you throw dog crap? Way back.
That was the funniest day ever. Dude really throws some dog poop into someone's face. I mean, what are the odds of that happening, man? I can't believe he even grabbed it with his bare hands too. I would at least put on some gloves, and then bam, smacked it right in the face. I bet when he went home there was so much fly on his face, it gonna be nasty.
In elementary school, there was a bully kid who would make fun of me. I had a bad bowl cut and was pretty small, so it wasn't surprising. Me and my friends usually just ignored him. Anyway, one day this kid from Brazil moved into the house next to mine.
Oh, I got a feeling that the Brazilian kid about to beat up that bully, let's...
He was a year older. We used to play soccer together every day after school. I mentioned to him once that this kid would call me names and usually while walking home from school would follow behind me taunting me. One day I'm leaving school and this kid is going slowly behind me on his bike shouting stuff. Just dumb kid stuff, But Brazil kid comes out of nowhere, knocks the kid off his bike and just starts beating him. Bully is on the grass crying and bleeding. Brazil kid grabs the bike and gives it to me. You can keep this, and then walks away.
Wow, that was such a savage moment right there.
I didn't know what to do. I just laid the bike next to the kid and walked home. He wasn't at school for like a week. Later in life I found that kid had a really crappy home situation with abusive parents. I was 10 at the time. Always felt bad for that. Quit bullying me though. I still occasionally see that Brazilian guy. Don't think he even remembers it. Cool on him for helping in his way. I just think it went too far. Brazil kid was actually pretty cool for sticking up for you. And yeah, I wouldn't feel too bad for the bully. Sometimes it has to happen to them a few times before they learn to quit taking a crappy home life out on innocent kids.
Yes, I totally agree with this one right here. If you have a crappy lifestyle, it's not everybody's fault, okay? So you don't really need to take it out on somebody else, But the Brazilian kid, he was, man, I bet he knows some jiu-jitsu or karate or something, cause he beat up the kid so bad he was in the hospital or somewhere for like a week. He didn't even show up for school for like a week. Holy crap.
I was dating this girl and my friend saw her around town a few times and humiliated her in an effort to embarrass me. I told him to stop bothering her, but he did it again. That night I convinced him to try getting back together with his wildly insane and manipulative ex that he hadn't spoken to in years, thinking that he would just humiliate himself by trying. Well, they banged and got back together for a while, and had a baby. Now they are terrible single parents. Jesus, I think the consequences from this one are the worst in the thread.
Oh man, you got your ex? Oh man, they got a baby now. Holy crap.
My friends and I used to pull a lot of pranks on each other growing up, and about 10 years ago I was helping my buddy set up a new business. He was ordering business cards and the company he was going through was offering I think 500 or so free with a large order, so we decided to prank our other friend. We made business cards with his name, phone number, home address, and had his job title as professional creep with the slogan, "If I'm creepin', you ain't sleepin'." We passed these cards out all over town. He was getting really harassing phone calls for a while and couldn't figure out why. After about 2 years he found one of the cards on a random fridge at a party and put 2 and 2 together. He was P and is still getting random calls 10 years later. I feel really bad about that one. Jesus, change your number.
Yay. Yeah, why did he not change his number? That's the point right now, right? Change the number and you won't like get any creepy calls.
Had a lawyer a few years back who was a piece of absolute crap. 1. Would go months between returning phone calls. 2. Constantly late with court filings to the point the courts multiple times moved to have the case dismissed from lack of action.
Dang, I wanna change the lawyer immediately, okay?
3. Lied to me constantly about anything and everything. 4. Refused to be fired. Seriously, when I told him he was fired he just ignored me and kept presenting himself as my lawyer. I had to get the courts involved to get him to stop. 5. Lied about me. Our client has been unreachable. We are considering dropping them. I tried to call you 84 times in THR last 3 months and you didn't answer or return a single one. 6. When I finally did fire him, he told me I had to be in court on a specific date. That didn't work for me. At a specific time. That didn't work for me. Or else the motion to withdraw wouldn't be accepted. So I got to the courtroom and the judge was super nice but confused as to why I was there, and when I told him the story the judge just goes, "Yay, this is all done electronically. I'm not sure why your lawyer would tell you that other than to be a dong." Needless to say, by the end of all this I was P and wrote a 10-page bar complaint about 4 different lawyers and their offices and ethical behavior. Well, the Bar Association decided this was a firm-wide encouraged pattern of behavior and threw the book at the 4 partners. Disbarred for 5 years, restitution to clients, and only allowed to practice under supervision for a period of 5 years after they return.
Wow.
I felt a little bad, but goddamn I was so freaking sick of being jerked around.
Yes, I think the lawyer deserve it. I mean, just look at the list. That lawyer didn't even care one bit. 82 phone calls and he didn't even reply one of them.
But goddamn I was so freaking sick of being jerked around. My brother and cousins were walking home from school. While my brother and I were walking and my cousins were on bikes, they kept circling us and making fun of us because we didn't have bikes. One of my cousins then spit on me. Out of reflex, I blasted her with my trumpet case and she went flying, landed on the concrete and broke her arm. I felt awful. It was the first and last time I ever hit a girl. My family believed every word of the story, knew this cousin was always a total B to me, and largely believed she had it coming. I still felt awful though. The trumpet case, an elegant weapon for a more civilized age.
Yes, I kinda agree with the way he put it. Elegant weapon right there, the trumpet case.
When I was in 5th grade, my teacher gave out a crap ton of homework one day, so I got the whole class to help me write a letter to the principal. She found out and cried and crap. I felt really horrible because she was just trying to get us ready for a test coming up. I still feel really bad every time I think about it. Oh, I have one for this. My grandpa was a bit old school and gave me prison yard advice for my first week of school. He said, if anyone picks on you, just deal with them right then. Don't take it. First week of kindergarten. A grade 1 kid was pushing me around, not letting me go back to class. I pushed him down against a fence and kicked him in the face 3 or 4 times, splitting his nose. Almost got kicked out of school, until they found out my grandpa had told me to do it. Thing is, no one messed with me after, and that guy was nice to me all the way through to graduation.
Wow. Your grandpa definitely gave you the advice of the century, okay? If you had a problem right there, solve it right there. Don't take it home. I mean, it definitely worked.
Kid on my track team would always come by and take a drink of whatever I had with me. I was sick of it and brought a root beer with me which had been spiked with 3x the recommended dose of root beer flavored X-Lax. Sure enough, he came by and I said, "You know what, Tony? Why don't you just take the whole thing?" Well, we were having a home meet that day and he was our best pole vaulter and part of the relay team. I thought maybe he'd feel a little off and under pre-form. In the midst of our warm-ups, he went missing and was absent the entire meet. Back in my early 20s, I was working a crap job in the mall. I'd only been working there for about a month when I was promoted to key holder over a guy who started before me. The dude had been a real flake as long as I'd known him, so I wasn't surprised. Apparently he'd been promised the position and was really upset at me. For the next month he was a huge dong to me, swiping sales, complaining to the manager about me, slyly fricking up cleaning projects or displays I had done, and informing the manager that I'd failed to do something. After a full month of his bulls, I eventually snapped. At a few of the local plant nurseries you can buy jars of ladybugs for $10. I bought 3, which was somewhere between 2,000 and 5,000 ladybugs. I swiped his keys from the break room while I was on lunch, found his cute new Saturn, and dumped all 3 containers on the floor of his back seat. We closed together that night, so we ended up waking out to the parking lot together after dropping the cash off at the deposit box. I was parked further out, so he got to his car before I did, and I was able to get a peek at my handiwork. It looked like something from a horror film. The ladybugs had swarmed the entire inside of his car, and in the dim light you couldn't really tell what they were, only that the car was full on infested with bugs. The dude had a freaking breakdown right there in the parking lot. Just absolutely lost his mind. I enjoyed the scene at first, but the longer it went on the worse I felt. After he calmed down enough to start making sense, he barreled into this monologue about how he was sure it was the girl from the pretzel stand because he'd been such a huge butthole to her, and he starts crying. He goes on about how he deserves this for being so awful, and then apologizes to me for being such a dong, and keeps going on about how he brought this on himself. It was pretty bad. I offered him a ride home, now feeling really guilty, and when I dropped him off he thanked me for being so nice to him, despite all the awful stuff he'd done. He said his mother was undergoing cancer treatment and it wasn't going well. Oof. He apologized again and I didn't see him for a few days. Crap between us at work improved a lot, but I still felt guilty as frick. He had to sell the car a few months later because the Texas heat had killed all the ladybugs and he couldn't get the smell of them out of the vehicle. His mom died a little while after that and he ghosted the job. Frick, I still think about that dude even now. The revenge felt so righteous when I did it, but afterwards it was nothing but guilt. You also killed 2,000 ladybugs.
Yes. Man, I didn't even know that guy was going through that much stuff. You know, he had like a mother that is in cancer. But I think he deserved the punishment, the way he just treated the people, you know. But at the end, man, I just also feel really bad for the ladybugs. You know, they are like a pretty friendly creature, and you kill like a town of population of ladybug, 2,000 population. That's a pretty big number.
My sister used to kick my butt on the regular. She had mad anger problems and would go berserk over the littlest things. One time I turned the light on while she was trying to sleep. She beat me up and I ended up going to prom with bruises all over me. All through the years, I never hit her back. I was a super sensitive kid and if I ever hit back, I ended up crying to my mom about how I loved my sister and hated to hurt her. After I graduated, she had calmed down a bit, but she still had issues. Coming back from a small party one night and she is back on her old bulls, just getting mad over something stupid and going totally crazy over it. We get home and get out of the car and say I'm driving home. She keeps saying I'm too drunk even though I'd only had 2-3 mini beers. She grabs the back of my shirt and I'm so pissed off at her. I turn around really fast with my fist out to hit her arm or something. She immediately lets out a blood-piercing scream and drops to the ground. Blood is spurting everywhere.
Oh.
She leaves a trail as she runs inside and wakes up our mom and dad. Turns out, I broke her nose pretty freaking bad. But my mom and dad kept saying it couldn't be that bad because I had done it and that she must have really been freaking with me for me to have done something like that after all these years of her beating on me. I felt so awful. I cried and tried to say sorry, but she ended up going to the hospital. I don't feel so bad now because she purposely never paid the bill, thinking she could bully me into paying it, and she never let it go. She always says I'm the reason her credit and stuff is bad and that she still has collections agencies calling her over the year bill. I ain't paying that crap.
Oh,
Consider
man.
it payment for the years of abuse.
Man, yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, he was literally like a bomb, just ticking and was waiting for it to explode. I mean, that dude just holding him for many, many years, pretty much every single day, getting bullied by his sister. And one day he finally decided to explode. And I guess it works. I think she finally stopped bullying him, you know?
I think I have told this before, but I think I was 15 and was in class and sat next to a friend of mine. He, for no reason, began to say, "Haha, your bald father," which I followed up with, "Haha, your bald mother." He started crying and ran to the teacher. I honestly forgot his mom had cancer and was getting chemo.
Oh.
Had a roommate who basically let his new GF move into our house in college. She helped herself to everything in the house but never contributed. Finally she parked in my parking spot and that was my breaking point. I let all the air out of all of her tires, thinking she'd just air them back up and it would be an inconvenience. Instead she ended up buying all new tires. Whoops, never came clean about it.
God,
Back in the
that was so evil. Dude really pop every single tire on her car. You know, those tires, they can get pretty expensive. I remember replacing all 4 of my tires and it cost around $600. But yeah, that is the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on that bell notification, and my social media link is in the description below. And yeah, my name is Calvin and I see you guys next video.